Another question that I just got here, which is, what's your advice to entrepreneurs who are pitching to VCs? And so I like to think of pitching to VCs as almost the same as pitching to co-founders. I get a lot of people who ask me, "Hey, I'm a business guy. I'm really looking for a technical co-founder. How do I do it?" Or I get someone who's a technical person saying like, "Hey, I know how to code, or I know how to do this. I'd really love to find a business co-founder. How do you do it?" And I think the same actually applies to VCs. I think that all of this process is a little bit like dating. And I think that like the problem is with, investments or with finding co-founders is that people think about it a lot like they're immediately going to get married, and I think that's not how it really happens in the venture world or in the co-founding world. Is that you have to basically date for a while before someone's going to want to really marry you, so to speak. So my advice to entrepreneurs who are pitching to VCs is really start the process early. Really get to know people like socially and personally before you really start the formal pitching part. And that might mean that you wind up going to events where these VCs are speaking or presenting, and you just go up and quick introduce yourself, but not pitch them. To say, "Hey, my name's Joe, and I'm actually the entrepreneur who's starting a new company that's in the area of social networking for doctors," or something like that. "I saw that you have a company that is ZocDoc that's doing some stuff there, and I think what you're up to is really, really cool. Love to grab coffee at some point." But again, so you're not really pitching to say like I'm looking for investment, but you're starting the conversation. So I think that's a really important thing, is to really start early. Start early and having those meetings and those conversations, because what happens is that when you're ready to pitch, you're talking about a 2, 3, 4, 6 month journey sometimes to get from those first meetings talking about your idea to getting someone to write a check. So that's my biggest piece of advice, is really think about it like a journey as opposed to a one-stop transaction. VCs are really looking to find people that they like. The first number one thing that they're looking for is the people. And so find people that they like. And if you're one of those people that like them, then terrific. And I think that makes the process of pitching easier. Now, you still got to have a great business, but I do think start there. And that's my first piece of advice around pitching to VCs, is really treat it much more as a process that starts long, long before and develops that over time. The other thing that I think is really important in kind of pitching to VCs is something that I've found is, ultimately find VCs that are going to be interested in your space and go after them. I think that one of the challenges that new entrepreneurs in particular find is that they're out there looking for any VC to write them a check. And so they see someone who says, "Hey, I'm a venture capitalist. I should talk to that person because they'll fund my company." And really most VCs have an approach that they're already looking at. Maybe they only focus in mobile companies, or maybe they've already got a food company that's similar to what you're doing. I think if that's what you're doing, find it really target someone who is interested in your space generally, and also doesn't have a competitor. So really do the research and make it kind of as targeted as possible. But most importantly, I think in all of this, it's really important to spend the time getting to know who your investors could be, and get to really understand them so that it is a conversation much more so than a pitch. And I think that's probably one of the most important things for sure.